Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We're here in Santa Barbara, California for the media launch event of a hybrid SUV that you have been waiting for, and it's this one right here. This is it. This is a 2023 totally redesigned Honda CR-V. Our particular one is the Sport Touring trim. But before we get into this best-selling compact crossover SUV with electrification in hybrid form, let's talk about what's going on here. The CR-V, this is now the 6th generation of this icon. And when I say an icon, like I said, it's not just Honda's best selling SUV, but it's also America's best selling crossover SUV since its inception all the way back in 1997. Now, over the years, the general shape of the CR-V has changed. Some of the years, some would say it got a little bland, but you know what? For this 6th generation, they're bringing a lot of extra style, a lot of extra technology, and guess what? This particular version is the most powerful CR-V ever produced. Now, there's a lot of competitors in this segment. Of course, the mighty Toyota RAV4 Hybrid, of course, newcomers like the Hyundai Tucson Hybrid and the new redesigned Kia Sportage Hybrid. But what I want to find out is it worth the price to go all in and get yourself a Sport Touring, which is going to give you that hybrid electrified power plant setup? Let's go ahead. Let's dive into this new metallic blue 2023 CR-V and find out. Right off the bat, the style. Just like we showed you on the internal combustion engine EXL, and if you haven't seen that review, I'll leave it at the end of this one. We got a totally new face on the CR-V. I love how they've taken the LED multi-beam headlight setup, really slimmed down the overall headlight housing, and they pulled it like Laffy Taffy all the way into that upper fender. We got LED daytime running lamps and LED headlights and turn signals, and on the Sport and Sport Touring trim, you're gonna get a little bit more of a blacked out exterior appearance. So of course the brow that separates the two lighting elements, that's gonna be gloss black, and it goes all the way across. Now as we come down, you have this all new color, this Canyon River Rock Blue, has a big time metal flake. It's like a bass fishing boat paint job on this CR-V. We have these corner air curtains that are functional, and I'm so glad that they went with flat black. Would have been nice, and I am gonna zonk it, if this area had an LED fog lamp. Let me know if you think that that would be a worthwhile cause to have the fog lamps, especially on the top Sport Touring trim. Now, as we slide across the front, you got that all new grille design, enlarged and definitely looking more in charge. Full functionality. You got, of course, the iconic Honda badge, all those decades of reliable transportation. And I like the way they did very wide openings on this upper grille. You work your way down. Unique to the Sport Touring is the grille and this lower section, which is flat black. You actually have shutters that will open and close to bring in extra cooling. And another way to tell that you're looking at a Sport or a Sport Touring are these guys right here. I love the way they have these aluminum style looking kind of trim piece, and then this is actually functional as well. So not only does it give it a little bit of a more aggressive look, and definitely from the front of this vehicle, you can see it's a little bit wider, it's a little bit longer, and that's gonna help not only with appearance, but also in what's going on in the interior. Now, when we hop up onto that low slung hood, love the way it just kind of trickles down to the top portion of that upper grille. And then everything kind of has this nice hard crease on both sides, and that's just gonna curve right into the A-pillars. As we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup on our Sport Touring. So you have 4 different trims: EX, EXL, Sport, and Sport Touring. When you go Sport Touring, you're going all in. You have these 19-inch wheels. Love the multi-spoke design. Gloss black matches well with our particular blue metallic setup on our Sport Touring, but this is an all-new wheel, 19 inches in diameter. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what's the size of the tire? you're looking at 235 on the width and then a nice meaty 55 series sidewall. They have reworked the whole chassis and have developed new suspension where it's actually lighter. You're looking at suspension bits that are 11 pounds lighter than the previous generation. There's more welds, there's more sound deadening material. That's gonna help create a much more secure ride and a quieter cabin. Now, the one thing I wish they would have done was painted the fender openings, at least on the top Sport Touring trim. It would have been nice for that blue to come down on that flat black area. Let me know what you think. Put it in the comment section. Do you think they should have painted those areas? I'm curious to see what you think. Now, if you go Sport, that's gonna be your front wheel drive. If you go Sport Touring, that's gonna be your all-wheel drive. And both the Sport and the Sport Touring are hybrid. And we'll talk more about that once we pop the hood. Coming down the side of the vehicle, I love some of these harder body lines that they're putting. This is making it not so rounded like some of the older generations. They sort of look like a rounded refrigerator rolling down the road. This has some nice hard creases, which really makes it stand out. We got black painted mirror caps with our turn signals nice and trim. The one thing I would have liked to also have seen is make this black chrome, like a dark chrome finish, but you have bright shiny metalwork top and bottom around the window frames. We do have color matched door handles, which are really nice. And then you do have the flat black along the bottom. I don't mind the flat black on the bottom of the door panel area with the door openings because this will take a nicer beating over time. Sport Touring, you're gonna get these gloss black, very low roof rails. You could get your crossbars. They got all different accessories. The rear door actually opens up now 90 degrees. So in years past, it might be here, but now it opens up 90 degrees. That's gonna give you that ability to get in and out of the car a lot easier, especially if you're strapping your kids into their child seats. But something I just wanted to point out, this is, when we say all-wheel drive, it's not like the RAV4 Hybrid where you just have an electric motor out back. This has an actual drive shaft sending the power from front to rear. And for 2023, it's a perfect 50-50 distribution of torque. Now, when we get to the tail end of the business, for the first time on a CRV, we got full LED brake lights. Love the way it's got that nice vertical setup over the generations. I'm gonna zonk that they did a old-fashioned light bulb, an Edison bulb for the turn signals. Let me know if you think that should be LED or if I'm just being too picky. Put that in the comment section. Love the way they did the roof spoiler with our color match shark fin antenna. You know how I feel about these. The only one that has a hidden wiper is the Tucson, believe it or not. Everybody else has the wiper exposed. Simple all-wheel drive badge. I'm liking the way they're doing this like they did in the past. And then you can see that extra width from the rear of the vehicle. Nice sport badge with the Touring, obviously, because this is a Sport Touring model. And then working our way to the other side, there's the only place where it says hybrid. So I'm glad they didn't put a bunch of hybrid badges all over the place. CRV, that's all you need. And then dropping it like it's hot, they did two nice exhaust finishers, stainless steel, and they're functional. So that one's functional. You can see the one zonk, they almost got you. This one is not functional. So let me know how you feel about that. I think they should have just made them both functional. And then I've already pointed out, we'll let this one go about this fake grille design. Just make it smooth. No reason to add that little fake grille design in there. And then you got that simple clean diffuser, but you know what? It's not just about the outside. There's some big changes to underneath the hood. Let's go ahead and pop it and see how much power our new CRV Sport Touring has. All right, guys, we got the hood popped open, and guess what? No prop rod. They actually have two hood struts to hold up the hood. Underneath the hood, tasteful engine cover, and I always admire how Honda routes all their brake lines, wires, tubes, and hoses. Nice, clean, and tidy. What are we looking at? We got that 2-liter naturally aspirated inline 4. It's paired now with two electric motors, making this the most powerful Honda CRV ever. 204 horsepower, but that's just the little taste of it. 247 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a CVT. You can get it front-wheel drive, or ours has the all-wheel drive system. This Canyon River Blue is absolutely stunning. I can't stop looking at it. MPGs, when you go all-wheel drive, 40 in the city, 34 on the highway, and 37 combined. Guess what? Two-wheel drive, you're getting small sedan fuel economy. 43 in the city, 36 on the highway, and 40 combined. Like I mentioned, new suspension bits. We got regen braking, different steering rack system, and you could tow up to 1,000 pounds with the CR-V now. Other previous gens, you could not tow with those vehicles. This one you can, but you know what? Let's go ahead, let's fire this up and see this new CR-V in motion. All right, guys, we're in the top trim of the Honda CR-V for 2023. This one being the Sport Touring with that great hybrid setup that they have. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, there's a lot to choose from in this compact crossover SUV segment. I'm actually liking the Honda CR-V. I never thought I would say that. I've always been a Toyota guy. I was even thinking maybe a Hyundai Tucson. But this CR-V is checking off a lot of boxes. How much is it? Well, entryway into the new CR-V is $31,000. This particular one being the top trim and the all-wheel drive, you're looking at an MSRP of $38,600. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. I do like what Honda's doing with their clean style. Soft touch material all the way around. There is a bit of gloss black, but you know what? It's texturized, and it's really not a place you're going to be putting your fingers. So I wouldn't worry about fingerprints. You do have a nice soft armrest, and when you go sport touring, you're getting that bright orange contrast stitching. And guess what? No gloss black around the switchgear. Working our way down to the door pocket, you could put a nice large piece of avocado toast and a Green Machine juice drink to wash it down. Going from the door panel to the dash, some of it's gonna feel familiar like you've seen in the Civic, like the wire mesh finish, but the dash is unique to the CR-V. Soft touch, you see this? It's like a Tiger Woods golf ball. That nice texturized feel, I'm really digging it, and I love the way the wire mesh hides all the AC vents. We got a 12 speaker Bose sound system, and then look what we got. 9 inches of visual pleasure. Now the base will be 7-inch infotainment system screen. We're not base, we got the 9-inch system. It is that floating iPad style. You do of course have navigation, that goes without saying. Wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. My favorite thing to show is the power flow. It's really wild, the graphics and everything for you and your passengers to really see how you're really sipping the fuel. And then, of course, you could slide over to the next screen. We could go to our trip computer. It calculates everything just like an old IBM. And then you could just keep going all the way through. The other nice thing that I like is, watch this. So you hold this down, and now what you could do is move it. I just moved it. So now I'm putting it exactly where I want. Let's say you're never using your Bluetooth thing. You could actually move that and just get it out of the way. And then when you're done, you're right back to where you started, and there it is. There's your power flow. 1, 2, 3. Throw it into reverse. They got a better resolution camera, not as good as the competition. So I would like to see a little less of a grainy appearance there, but they did improve it. And then you got your different angles, which is really nice. Let me know if you think this vehicle should have a 360-degree camera. I kind of think that it should have it. You got your sensing technology, but it would be nice to have a 360 cam. Then you go right back into park. There's that wonderful texturized material. The AC vents are really nice to move. You got that power on button that's illuminated, and obviously it says power on because we're in a hybrid. 3 stages of heated seats, but no ventilated seats. That's a zonk to me, but what I do like is we have dual climate control with that nice, you hear the sound? I absolutely love the quality of all the switch gear in here. USB-C, USB-A, 12 volt, wireless charging, and I'm glad that they give you a spot for 2 Butterfingers, because lay your hands off of my Butterfinger, because now you got to have a space for 2. This is the new shifter that's going to control the CVT. I do like the orange stitching. For the first time on a CRV, we got the drive mode selector switch, hill descent control, and there's your electric e-brake, 2 cup holders, and of course you got to have a backup Twinkie tray. This is your holder for your backup Twinkie for when you're traveling with the fam. Soft touch material, the orange stitching. Open it up, look at this. You got a removable tray. This is where you could collect, you know, different coins from all the different states, and then you put them in that coin book, and then you could sell it on eBay for $2 million. And then you got a lot of room in here. How much room do you have? You could actually put, I would say, 124 Smurf figurines. 124 of them, including Papa Smurf and Dopey Smurf. Seats, soft material, the stitching, all the way around. I just wish they were ventilated. You do have power seats for the passenger. I have power seats over here on the driver's side. Standard size sunroof. Should this have, at this price point, a panoramic? I'm not going to zonk it. I want you to zonk it if you think you should. Put that in the comment section. But why don't you come over to the business end? I got a new steering wheel in the new CRV I want to show you coming over. All right, guys, business time. Like I said, longer CRV means more room in here. You got two actual memory seat settings for the driver's seat. Seat controls, so easy to use. You could actually use 2 fingers just to operate them. Look at that. That's the noise that they make when you use them. I'm 6 feet tall. I still have not grown any taller or shrunk. Plenty of headroom in here. Seats, I'm liking the material, and then the steering wheel. Honda does the best steering wheel in this segment. Nice leather all the way around. We got the Jose Canseco orange stitching because he used a lot of orange steroids. You do have your heated steering wheel button. Look how nice it is, placed right there with a little bit of silver trim. Flat black on the buttons. You do have paddles on the back of the wheel, but they're not for simulated gears. This is for your regen braking, different levels of regen braking, manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel, and then your dash. What do we got going on? You got your 7-inch new digital multimeter display, analog speedometer. Let me know if you're bummed that it's not a full digital screen. Let me know in the comment section, but you got your different modes, sport, normal, econ, and snow. Your CRV will actually help you build a snowman when you're in snow mode. The one thing I'm missing that some of the competitors have is a head-up display. And that to me is a little bit of a head scratcher. But why don't we go ahead? There's more room up here. I'm gonna bet you $1 million that there's more room in the back seat. Let's go ahead and check out the back seat and see how your passengers are gonna enjoy this new CRV. All right, guys, back seat time. And I guess I win the bet. So you owe me $1 million because guess what? More room than ever before in the back seat of a CRV. And that's incredible when you think that there is a battery underneath this rear area. That's obviously gonna take up some room. But let me show you a little tour of the back seat. Now, on the backs of the seats, you do have all that nice soft material. No pocket though if you're sitting behind the driver. So you better thumb wrestle and you better be good, whoever's getting in the back seat with you, because the loser's gonna be sitting behind the driver. And guess what? That means that the pineapple that you're bringing home, you're gonna have on your crotch in between your legs, and that's gonna get prickly, and that's gonna hurt, especially if the driver slams on the brakes. So just something to think about. Thumb wrestling can save your life and potentially save your ability to have children if you have a pineapple that you need to carry in between your legs. Anyways, rear AC vents, nicely placed on this little command center. USB-Cs, thank you Honda for taking care of us. And then like I was saying, the amount of room. Now I have my own pocket here, so I would obviously, win the thumb wrestling competition. So my pineapple could fit right here, that nice California grown, extra sweet this time of the year from what I'm told. And I personally love pineapples. Another thing that's incredible is watch this. 8-way positionable rear seat back. And what's amazing is God forbid, in the chance that there's an accident and the side airbags deploy, no matter if you're here, no matter if you're here, you're still gonna be protected. And of course, we have those ratcheting seat belts to hold you in place so that you're not like getting even more hurt just because you're chilling like a villain. Nobody wants to be hurt because they're chilling like a villain. The only thing I'm a little bummed out is, why do I have to do that? I don't like reaching behind me. I wish they would just give me a handle somewhere, but watch this. That's the sound it makes. You have an armrest. They did give you enough space for an actual human arm. 2 cup holders. There's a weird bug just crawling all over me, but this is what you got to do when you're out here in the middle of nowhere in Santa Barbara. Flip it back up. Seats look just as good as up front, but you know what? It's not just about the room for the people in your life. It's about the room for your junk in your life. Let's go ahead and see how much junk we could put in the trunk of this CRV. All right, guys, we got a little bit bigger CRV for 2023. More room for your people, but also more room for your stuff. All you're gonna do is hit that button. It's the fastest opening lift gate in CRV history. And then guess what? You're actually gonna be greeted to more room than in previous generations. You're looking at 36 cubic feet of space. That's 3 more cubes of space back here with the rear seats up. You fold those rear seats down, you're now looking at 76.5 cubic feet of space. I love the way they have these nooks here. You could put a gallon of chocolate milk, perfect on the driver's side, and then on the passenger side is the perfect nook for a full box of freshly baked Twinkies. And then, like I was saying, you need more room. Not only do we have lots of room top to bottom, side to side, watch this. You just reach in and you're gonna fold flat those seats, and that's gonna allow you to have over 76 cubic feet of space. The only zonk that I could see is that the floor is not totally flat, and that has to do obviously with this being a hybrid vehicle. But I do love the way those rear seats are totally flat side by side next to one another, especially if you need to do a grape run out here. That's like a popular thing that people do in Santa Barbara. They go to a farm, pick some grapes, and they just load it up in their SUVs and go back and make their own wine. So something to think about, but you know what we're gonna make? We're gonna make some on-throttle goodness. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's see how this new sport touring CRV drives. All right, guys, we're inside this 2023 Honda CRV. Remember, this is the top sport touring trim. What does that do? Like we mentioned earlier, that automatically puts you with the new hybrid setup in here. Now, we have it in sport mode. That's also something new, the first time on a CRV having a mode selector. And then it's really cool, by putting the shift lever on B, you're getting that regen braking. And what I'm finding is that I actually am liking that as we're going downhill. It really helps with the overall braking process, of course, but it's also helping to recharge that battery pack for the hybrid system. But going down this mountainous road out here in Santa Barbara, it really showcases how Honda builds the car from the inside out. Everything is well laid out in here, and of course, we gotta do some on throttle. Nobody's behind us. I have it in sport mode. If you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle. So you got some simulated shifts there, helping to keep the revs down. We got the all-wheel drive, that 50-50 torque distribution, different from the previous gen with a 60-40. And then this is really where you're feeling all of that work through the chassis, through the suspension, through the steering, that really makes a Honda a Honda. Very, very connected, especially when you're comparing this to a RAV4 hybrid, a Tucson hybrid. It really is showcasing that work that Honda has done throughout the years. Everything, like I was saying, is well laid out in here. The screen with the infotainment being that floating iPad style is a love it or hate it affair. I don't mind it really. I'm kind of used to it because of Honda using it for a very, very long time, and it's very easy to get to. Very well laid out. You can get to your icons, and I really, really think it was smart to add this extra little space here for your thumb that I pointed out earlier. But very, very quiet in the cabin, and just good feedback coming through the wheel. I think that is really where you're gonna have a nice, pleasant surprise as you're driving this compared to the 5th gen of the CR-V family. Visibility, having that extra 4.4 inches of space. They moved those 8 pillars 4.4 inches wider compared to the previous gen. Really allows that great visibility, and just things that you would never even think. For example, moving the mirrors out a little bit opens up the corner areas to just allow a nice 360 view, front, side, and out the back. You got your wireless charging. The seats, I'm actually digging. They look good. I'm liking how they brought that stitching, but they also feel good. And it's not just the different material, they actually reconstructed the frame of the seat and how the seat supports the cushions that support you. So really a lot of work has been done throughout that whole setup. And then for the people that live up north, or for those that live down south that have very thin blood, look how easy it is to turn on that heated steering wheel. I mean, having it at the base of the wheel, very, very smart. It's easy to get to, but yet out of the way at the same time. So I'm really, really liking that. And then of course, with the regen braking, you could adjust that with the paddles. I could add more or I could add less. And it's all through the paddles. You know, another thing that you're really gonna notice, remember, we are in the most powerful CR-V. Now, yes, there's a little bit more horsepower, but that's not the full story here. The full story is that revised hybrid system with the 2 electric motors. You're getting a ton more torque, and it's that torque that gives you that acceleration, that gives you that oomph from a dead stop, that oomph off a corner, those types of things. And you're definitely gonna feel that in this new CR-V. And remember, we can't call it a hybrid anymore. I like the way they just call it the Sport Touring. Both the Sport and the Sport Touring are your hybrid models, and then EX and EXL are gonna be your internal combustion engine with the turbocharger. And if you haven't seen that review, I'll leave it at the end of this one, just so that you have that. But let me slow down a little bit here. I got the regen braking helping to slow me down, but I'm gonna get on the brakes a little bit more just to slow it down. Look how beautiful the view is. We're gonna go on throttle from a slow roll here. Are you ready? On throttle. See those simulated shifts? Or at least you can hear them. Might not be able to see them. Really cool bridge, look at this. Going over this valley. But those simulated shifts are making it more bearable for me when I'm on throttle, so that it's not just the whole entire time while you're on throttle. And another thing to point out is, remember, like I showed you earlier, that is not a tachometer on the left-hand side on that 7-inch display. It's a really well thought out power gauge. And that's another thing that actually helps with the overall driving of this vehicle, having that information come through. And it's very easy to sort and reset whatever you need to do, all by the roll of your thumb on that thumb control knob there. but very, very smooth. Those 19-inch wheels are not making the ride more harsh in here. You got the lower center of gravity compared to the internal combustion engine CR-V because of the battery pack. And then you got all that torque that has never been seen at that level on a Honda CR-V. What I want to quickly point out to you guys is that I actually can have the power flow display in 2 separate locations. You could have it just in the gauge cluster, and you can see how I'm on throttle and I'm using power here to do its thing. And then when you let off, it turns green. But you could also have that same exact setup for you to see, but also for the passengers to see, which is kind of cool. And I like the way it's laid out, showing the 2-liter engine up front, and then you have the battery pack in the back. And you can see as I'm applying throttle, we use it. As I get off throttle, now it's just charging from the regen braking. And with the regen braking, just so you know, the brake light does not come on every time regen braking kicks in. And what I mean by that is that if you're on a level road and you get off throttle and the regen braking comes on, the brake light will not come on. It only comes on when there's some type of gradient that's detected. So that's just something to be aware of. You're not going to be freaking out the people behind you as much as you think, especially when you're on a more level road. But very nice to have that kind of accessibility. And then one thing I've always liked about Honda's infotainment system is how you can move all of the icons around, all the widgets, and put, like, on the front page the ones you exactly want, and on the other page the one that maybe you only use every now and then. So kind of cool how they have that feature as well. But going through this roundabout here, we're gonna go on throttle. You ready? On throttle. Simulated shifts. You see the power being used. It's got the range displayed. Nice and balanced. And that's the sign that makes my heart pitter patter, is that twisty bit road sign. Now obviously it's not like a Honda Civic Type R, but like I said, there's certain chassis characteristics that they bring into play. My only thing is I wish this had the 10-speed automatic. I feel like with the 10-speed automatic, it would be more engaging. The sound would be better, because it's like there's sound and there's not sound. And like the simulated shifts help, but that's the one characteristic I would like to see changed on this CR-V, is the introduction of the 10-speed automatic. At least put it on the Sport and the Sport Touring. But other than that, turn-in is very nice, very balanced, very, very secure. But we're gonna get back to where it all started. I hope this was a good enough overview for you and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. It's been one heck of a day out here in super sunny Santa Barbara, California, with this Canyon River Blue CR-V Sport Touring. Definitely want to thank the whole Honda team for allowing us access to this vehicle so that we could bring it to you. Let me know what you think. Is this worth the price? Is it the best new compact SUV that you should be buying? Let me know how you feel about it in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raity's Rides family. We got to give it up to the hardest working camera person in the whole realm of YouTube. Show Lori Gibbons Raiti some love in that comment section. Follow her on Instagram, real simple, @Lori Raiti. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.